Here we have the April Barra and Jacks box. Okay, let's start off with the big one in the bag from our friends at Rapala. This is the Rapala Super Shad Wrap. So this is a typical balsa wood hard body lure. So yes, it is balsa, therefore it's going to be fairly buoyant. It does have a good weight to it, but it is a large lure. When you first look at it, you'll notice it does have a funny looking bib that practically points nearly straight down as well. So this means it's going to be a very shallow diving lure. So it's going to be sort of swimming in the very top part of the water column. So I'm thinking early morning, late afternoon, big barra boofs. Doesn't have to be early morning, late afternoon though. You can fish this middle of the day. If you've got some, weedy edges just sitting under the surface and you want to swim it through that, perfect. But for the best strike rate, I'm probably thinking early morning, late afternoon. When sort of around the time that you're going to be fishing surface or just after when you're flicking surface. But this thing here, big bait, so looking for big fish. You're just going to cast it out and retrieve it back. That's it. Very easy to use. Cast out, slow to medium retrieve. Maybe add in a few pauses, but I'm looking for a constant roll, a constant medium speed roll over these structured areas, weed, on the edge of lily pads, timber, just wherever you're going to find big barra hanging out that are potentially going to hit shallow diving lures. Moving on from that, we'll go to a slightly deeper profile lure, and one of my favorites to fish with. This is a classic barra lure. This is the Storm Thunder Barra. I have one here in probably one of my favorite colors to use. That's just a typical gold hard body lure. This one here is a floating style lure and will dive to about 2 meters deep. So perfect for hitting those river edges or the edges in the dam, specifically where you've got structure or a nice little 2 to 3 meter drop off, and you want this lure swimming down along that drop off. Also, brilliant for trolling. If you want to troll up some big barra or even some jacks, this is perfect. If jacks is more your thing, work this along some rocky edges or along some pontoons or natural structure, cast it in under some overhanging mangroves as well, will be perfect. But brilliant barra lure, one of my favorites, one of the first hard bodies I'll choose if I'm fishing hard bodies for barra and jacks. Jumping over to something a little bit deeper now though, is something from our friends at Ballista Lures. So these have a very unique bit of technology in them. So it's a little red LED blinking light. So inside this Ballista lure, they do have a series of wires and a little motherboard microchip that when the lure hits the water, it connects the circuit, therefore making the light inside the lure start to blink. Now this is a very deep diving lure. This is the Ballista Smoke 80, and it will dive down to about 5 meters deep, making this a great trolling lure for deeper water. Now, I'm not just gonna troll with this though. I'm also gonna use this casting at the edges or the steep drop-offs that may be in the areas that you're fishing as well, because this thing's gonna get down deep and quick. And you can actually have a swimming, so it's bumping along the bottom at the same time, causing quite a mess, kicking up a lot of soot and silt and sand, and that can attract some very big bites as well. Also very good for low light fishing. Because of the LED light in the back, it means you can actually track this lure in the dark and see whereabouts it's swimming. You will see the bright red light flashing as it swims. Fantastic bit of technology from Ballista Lures. If you're wanting more of a subtle approach to chasing your barra or jacks, then you're going to look no further than this one here. This is the jerk shrimp. So it's a little soft plastic shrimp. Got them rigged so they swim backwards. Most shrimp profiles that you buy on the market just swim, with the toe point tied to the front of the head and tail at the back, and it swims just like a normal soft plastic would. These ones here, they have them set up so the hook comes out of the head and then the toe point is in the middle of the body, giving heaps of room for the tail to do a proper action. So because the way that these are rigged means that I'm gonna get really twitchy with it. I'm gonna add a lot of twitches, a lot of hops, and get that tail kicking just like a fleeing prawn would. So if you're fishing saltwater in a river, look for these drop-offs or the snaggy edges, cast in there, let it sink down and just get really twitchy, adding in a lot of twitches and a lot of pauses, just making this look like a twitching, darting, fleeing prawn is exactly the way you want to fish it. Now, if you're covering more open ground or even deeper water, then you're gonna want to jump over to the Samaki Vibalicious. This one here is a big paddle tail soft plastic vibe. These are great for working vertically, or because of the extra weight that's in it, you can get a really long cast out and just pop straight into a slow to medium wind, and this will just vibrate all the way back to the boat or kayak or bank that you're fishing from. But also because of the weight, it allows you to let this sink down to the desired depth. So if I'm fishing vertically, I can sink this straight down into some schooled up feeding fish and just work it up and down in front of their face. Or I can cast out, let it sink down, and actually work the depths of the original riverbed or drop off that the fish might be hugging the side of. But that's it for the BARRA JACKS box this month. If you want to check it out or any of the others in the range, just head to www.tackleclub.com.au, pick a box that's right for you, and welcome to the club.